To beginner's tutorials 3DSMax. We're just going to have a look at toggles and sliders, and then we're going to have a look at some different types of 3D modelling. We're going to look at box modelling, spline modelling, and we're going to look at plane extrusions as well. First of all, if we just introduce you to the snaps toggles, first of all. We've used them previously in some of the little tutorials that we've done, but I want to show you what it is that they do and how that you can actually change them. So first of all, I'm just going to take you up to where the snaps tools are. So we've got these four at the top. The first one that we've got, the snaps toggle, if we right click it, it enables us to see this menu. Within here we get to decide how it is that we want our selection to snap. So if we're to do it to grid points, if we close that afterwards, we'll be able to see when we turn it on that anything in which we create will snap to a grid point. The same goes with any of the other options that are within there. They will bind to those. So if you were making a box, for example, and you've got the vertex snap on, what we'll see is when we convert it to editable poly and go into the vertex subobject mode, that when we move, what we'll be able to do is snap it to an existing vertex, like so. Okay, so there's a load of your snaps tools for move. Next along, what we've got is we've got the rotate snap. Now if we click this on, what this enables us to do is when we're rotating, if you look down here at the bottom, we've got the X, Y and Z axes measurements. You'll see that if we're in, now at the moment, the Y axis, you'll see that what we've got is it actually changing in intervals of 5 degrees with that snaps tools on. If we turned it off, you'll see that we no longer have that. So if we need to do in intervals our rotations, it's very helpful. Next across there, what we've got is a percentage snap toggle. So if we're doing, for instance, scaling, you'll see that at the bottom here we can actually snap in intervals of 10%, as we've got in the boxes at the bottom. Okay, so if I just move this out of place, the next one along is the spinner snap toggle. So what this will do is enable any spinner like here, 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 or anywhere within 3DSMax. If we have this clicked on, we'll be able to snap this put it at 0 first. It will snap as close to 25 or 0.25 as close as possible. It's quite helpful. What we'll see is if we move this out of the way though, when we're using the tools or any toggles within 3DSMax, if we right click them, they instantly reset back to 0. That will work with any of the toggles that you ever use within modifiers, within creation. It will always take it to the minimum value in which it can be taken to. Okay, so there's some of your manipulators, toggles and sort of sliders information. The next part that we're going to have a look at is the different types of modelling. So we've done a little bit of box modelling before when we've created the sofa and we've created the church. So this time I wanted to just show you a couple of other mini little tools that will help out when it comes to creating something when we're box modelling. So if we create a new box, what we're going to do, this box is at 3 meters by 3 meters by 3 meters. Right click it and go to convert to editable poly. What we've got there in the edge mode, if we show you some of these new ones, we have the connect, we've got bridge, chamfer, are the ones I'm interested in. Within the face, we've got extrude, bevel, create that I'm interested in. And within the vertices, I've got the target weld, and connect that I'm interested in as well. So if we stick with these ones first, when we're in vertice mode and we want to target weld an object, we simply click hold of the button, click on the first one, and this dotted line, we'll click onto another one, and it will instantly snap to that next point. If we have two vertices, so select this one, hold control and select another one, and press connect, you'll see that we make an edge between them. Let's use this tool as well. If we go now into edge and go down to our connect in here, what we'll notice is if we select this one and hold control and select another, press connect, it will instantly place one within the middle. However, if we press the box next to it, it will give us some different options as well. So we'll have however many segments that we want, however much we want the two of them or more to pinch together, and where we want them along that line. Now I wanted to show you bridge within this one as well, but what we're going to have to do first of all is we're going to have to go into face, and we're going to have to click one of them and press delete so it's deleted. We now have an open edge or a border. What we're going to do though is we're going to select two of those, scroll down to bridge, and it will close it up for us. Remember though that this will only bridge the two of those edges together, it won't do any additional ones, so please beware of that. If you're wanting to do it with a full object with multiple edges, we'll go into border and we'll go and press cap, and it will do the whole thing. Not to everyone's taste, when it gets to a little bit more of a extreme 3D model, let's say, with a bit more detail in it. So just be careful with that, and you may need to use other tools at the time. There's another tool though that's within this polygon subobject mode. If we delete one again, that's called create. What I want to do is show you how that works. We click on create. What we can do is click on the first one, the next one, and any sequentially after vertices, we're going to click on them as well, and then we're going to click it back onto the last one, and it will create a new polygon for us. Okay. Now at some point, if we need to use an inset or a bevel, click on here, the bevel first of all. What that allows us to do is extrude as well as outwards, inwards, sort of out again really, but in the opposite direction. Enables us to change that like that, so we can carry on doing this. The plus sign will add an iteration if you need to do that without having to go through all that again. Okay, so there's some of the other box modelling tools that we may come across. Now when it comes to plane extrusion, plane within our create panel, let's just make one first of all. I'm going to just stick with the length segments and width segments at 1, so I've just right click those. I'm going to convert that to editable poly and go in the edge mode. Now, as is the same with when you're cloning any object, we're going to hold shift on our keyboard and use the move tool to enable us to create further extensions of our shape. So at the moment, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go all the way around here, let me show you by doing so we can create what will look like a bit of a chair. So if we have this one selected and this one, and use the tool that we used earlier with the bridge, we'll see that we're getting sort of chair shape. What we're going to do is select all of these vertices, bring them across, so we get a bit wider of a chair. And what we could do is with this cap tool that we learnt earlier on, is cap these edges that are open so that they are now closed and we have a full object. However, what we need to make sure that we do is not leave any face or polygon that has any more than 4 sides. We need to make sure that it's quadded up, and this is something that's going to become quite prominent later on when we get involved in making our own 3D models. What we're going to need to do is go back into our vertices, and we're going to need to either use the connect tool to do this, or we can also use the cut tool. So we can hover over and cut from one place to the next, so that we either have objects with 4 sides, so here 1, 2, 3, 4, or 3, as we have down here, that is known as a triangle or a tri. So we've got 1, 2, 3. That's how you go about using the plane extrusion method of creating objects. There's one last little one that I want to show you within this tutorial, and that's a spline way of modelling. What we're going to do is move into the create panel, go from standard primitives area along to shapes, and we're going to draw a line. And what we're going to do is left click, left click, left click, left click, left click. When you're finished with the line, right click and it will end the sequence. When we are in and using splines, we're going to right click on the spline and convert the spline to an editable spline. And we'll get the spline tools that we have here. We want to use vertice though first of all, because I want to show you some of the mini options in order to change the shape. So if we click on one of the verts and right click and change here where we have corner to Bezier corner. When we have Bezier corner in place, we have these two little green gizmos that enable us to make these connections or corners a lot smoother. So when we're happy with the shape, what we're going to do is we're going to add another shape in which we want it to take its form. For example, if we wanted to turn this into a pipe or a lead of some sort, we could do that by adding another shape. So if we create another circular shape for it to take its form, we'll make the shape first of all, but what we're going to do is click onto this, go into our modifier panel, and we're going to go into a modifier list. Now this is the first time we've actually used this, but we're going to go into modifier list, click on bevel profile, pick a profile, and we're going to pick the circle. And as we can see, by doing that, we've enabled this to take the shape of the second shape. So if we click back onto the second shape, we can change how that looks, and the pipe shape will follow. Also, we have at the moment 6 steps going around the circle. If we want to change that so that it's less detail, we'll move that down, and as we can see, it changes in the amount of detail on the object. We only have 4 sides, whereas previously we had more and more iterations. Okay, that's the next in line of the tutorials I want you to have a look through. I'll see you next time.